Welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast for two guys who know nothing about comedy, but a little bit about game design because we've done about 100 episodes now. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me as always is Ben Slinger.
Hello, how's it going? I'm Ben Slinger. Sorry, that's a little callback to the pre-recording little practice we did. Yeah, episode 101. Welcome. We're kind of have done this for a while now. We feel a little bit like we have some experience under our belt, and maybe we'll shake things up a bit.
We'll still put out shit stuff, but that's okay.
It's all part of the fun. But yeah, look, I don't think things are going to change too much. We're going to keep going with some click pitch. We're going to try to get a lot more guests on and stuff over the next year, over the next 100 episodes. We'll see you at 200.
The road to 200 starts now.
That's it. We're going to start a little website with a thing that fills up, the road to 200, Bitstorm 200. No, we're not going to do any of that.
We're going to try and not do something that Ben's done a couple of times now and accidentally put our episodes into Season 3, because that's what they appear on iTunes as now. There's like 3 episodes in Season 3.
I'm sure we fixed them, so that's on iTunes.
I've fixed them back to Season 1, but they're still in Season 3.
Well, that's on iTunes. I blame them and their horribleness. All right, so let's play a game called Click Pitch. Let's go play a game called Ramped Up Click Pitch, which is where we each have a random word generator in front of us. And on the count of 3, 2, 1, click, we're going to click refresh. We're going to get a new phrase, a noun and an adjective each, or actually an adjective and then a noun. And we're going to mush them together. We're going to put them into some sort of game design for your listening pleasure. Pleasure. Let's do it.
Pleasure. 3, 2, 1, click.
That wasn't particularly pleasurable, Trevor, for my ears. What are your words?
Powdered vaccine.
Oh, Northwest Swirl. The Northwest Swirl. I like the idea of that being like a landmark or something on a map.
Well, no, what I'm thinking is it's actually this scientist has worked out how ineffective like injected vaccines actually are in comparison to like if you powdered it and then just like seeded it into the clouds.
Oh,
and
okay. I thought you were going to say snorted it.
No, you seed it into the clouds and therefore the northwest swirl or the wind, sends the vaccine all over the country, like instantly. No one has to go get a shot or anything like that, and everyone's cured of the common cold.
So it's for the common cold?
It's only the common cold.
Okay. So is this a narrative game of some sort? Or is this a game where you're like navigating wind currents to maximize the spread of the vaccine? Like, that could be kind of cool. Like almost a bit of a Peggle. But instead of bouncing a ball off of bricks and knobs, words are fucking not with me tonight. Pegs, that's the word. It's called fucking Peggle. And I couldn't think of the word pegs. Instead of bouncing a ball off pegs and bricks, you're like launching, I don't know, whether it's a spray of it or something that sort of lands somewhere and then explodes into gas and then is carried by the wind currents in the level. And you get scored based on the spread of the vaccine. I'm thinking that it starts off as like you're in almost like a crop duster sort of plane. Okay, so yep.
So you're sort of being able to check out, what the sort of wind is. You can sort of see, okay, down on the ground, I can see that the wind is going in a northwesterly direction, and that's going to hit that population over there, which is fantastic. So you go and sort of crop dust the cloud, and try to get maximum dispersal.
Dispersion, yeah, that could be cool. That like the early levels, there aren't many sort of buildings and things in the way, or like cities or rivers or whatever that's going to affect the air currents. It's just kind of fields, and you have to judge based on the direction the wind is going at the time that you start to let it go over a certain, the 1 or 2 seconds that you've got enough spray for. And then, you basically just watch it spread. And as it spreads, you kind of see the smaller little eddies that, around trees, there's going to be a bit of a swirl, and there's going to be Because I'm thinking it's fairly localized at this point. And maybe...
Yeah, I think maybe as you're flying, you can sort of, I don't know, see maybe a coloured sort of situation of, okay, here's where you got special goggles on that you can actually see.
Well, I think as you play, you get more and more tools. And as the levels, because I'm kind of basically picturing this as a puzzle game now, right? As the levels get more complex, where there are going to be, sections of the map that are only possible if you kind of manage to get enough of it caught in this particular, sort of wind current. Wind current?
So I'm picturing
there's got to be a better word for wind current.
Each level is going to be sort of like a, almost a Battlefield 2 or a Battlefield style level that's quite large, and you're flying your crop duster around, and you can sort of see where the population is, and so it's in full 3D, but it's more. You've got to work out. Okay, you can actually spend a bit of time traversing and sort of looking at different spots in this world as to if I dropped it off here.
3D is going to be hard. I was thinking like a 2D top down kind of thing. Where you're looking at overhead map.
3D.
You want full 3D. So we're talking full 3D, like
puzzle
dispersal physics of this thing. Yeah. Creating, using fucking vectors on everything to create wind patterns.
I'm thinking that if the developers have got like this awesome, wind physics that they magically install in the game,
gas simulation. Yep.
Yeah, then literally you can run like simulations within the game, saying if I dropped it here, what would actually happen, and you can sort of see, and
that's
sort
the
of
idea.
Go around, and so maybe the first part is you're driving to different places, and you drive to the top of this mountain, and you go, if I, sort of throw this these powdered vaccine up into the wind right here, what would the dispersal pattern be? And you can sort of see using your funky computer as to how it would actually go.
Well, and that's, I guess you can look on the computer. I guess if you're doing a bit more of a first-person-y or third-person kind of 3D thing, you would need some sort of visualization like from above or something like that to really get an idea of where it's spreading. And you can have it that you can view through your goggles and see it as well or something and see the pretty colors in the sky. But it's going to be pretty hard to comprehend the dispersal from that point of view, I think. So you need. Oh
yeah, I think deciding where you're going to actually put it is in the 3D space.
Yeah.
But then, sort of the computer can use like satellite imagery to show the dispersal based off of like some crazy algorithm they've got.
Yeah, full on sim. I mean, it's not even that far fetched.
No.
You could do it. It depends on how granular you want to get with it, but you probably, for a gameplay point of view, you probably don't need to get too granular as long as it looks cool.
Yeah, I mean,
and sort of heads around in the right directions.
I love open world sort of stuff, and then being able to play around with where you're actually going to drop these things off. You don't necessarily have to be in the crop duster every time. You can sometimes as long as you get up high enough, do it off the side of the mountain.
I think sometimes you're creating things to like launch it up into the air before it explodes or whatever and sends the powder out.
I mean, early techniques, you tried using the crop duster, you tried using like fireworks sort of.
Yeah. Turns out the best way is actually just to like put it into a baseball and hit it with a baseball bat, and it's just like by the time it gets with a cherry bomb in it, and like light the fuse, whack it into the sky as high as you can. Oh my god, we're being attacked! It's a terrorist. Yeah, are we gonna tackle the idea that maybe people don't want to be vaccinated against their will? And personally, I think everyone should be vaccinated if it's actually proven to be safe. So I should clarify. Of course, vaccines that we have now that are injected are proven to be safe. I mean, in this case, seeding the clouds and dispersing it, like a fucking chemical weapon is maybe a different situation. But is this a lone scientist who's going about this? Who's just decided that this is going to be more effective, or is this a government thing? Are there people against it, or do we not care because it's a puzzle game and who gives a fuck?
I think this is maybe maybe if you are actually opposed to the ethical nature of it, then you can go down a storyline of ethicalness as to him. This guy just seemingly has, you can maybe investigate into. Hang on, these signatures from the government seem forged, and
the scientist
doing it on
himself,
his own. Yeah,
right.
He's just working for a company, and he's been told by this company to go seed all this stuff. But it turns
So
out
he's just actually their best baseball player. He's just like, hey,
he's just the delivery guy.
Franklin, when we have our company baseball team, our baseball match, and, you always get a home run, and you know how you've talked about you'd really like a promotion, and you didn't think you had transferable skills? Well, have I got the job for you?
Awesome. Where do I sign up?
Oh, no, we can't have anything down on paper. This is purely off the books. You will be paid in cash.
Cash? I like cash. Let's talk.
And off he goes, with his bat in hand. No, well, I kind of like the idea that, because you're talking about it being first person and stuff, it starts off as this puzzle game and you think you're doing good by dispersing this vaccine. But then it turns out that actually it's not a vaccine and it's just turning people into horrible zombies, and then it just becomes a shooter. And so you're on top of a mountain when you start, and you've been whacking these baseballs off the side of the mountain.
You accidentally grabbed the anthrax baseball.
My commemorative anthrax baseball signed by Mickey Mantle, the only baseball player I know about. Whoops.
It was powdered. Okay, 3, 2, 1, click.
Yeah. Blonde nape.
Liberating enforcement.
Okay. All right, so I've been watching iZombie, and for those who have watched it, when you become a zombie, your hair starts going white, and that's like
almost like that bleached.
Yeah, like you get a stripe, and then it turns completely like bleached, like basically albino white kind of thing, like no melanin. Yep. And that's a telltale sign that someone's become a zombie. So I'm kind of thinking blonde nape, like that's in this game, that is a way to tell that somebody, we don't have to go zombie, but like a telltale sign of some sort of affliction or some sort of, that they've signed on to, I don't know, that they're part of some sort of organization or something. The nape of their neck. There's like the little rat tail. If they've got a blonde rat tail.
Okay, so I'm seeing this as sort of like, because I'm seeing liberating and enforcement.
Yeah, well, I thought
I'm
that kind of
this
went
as
along
almost like a cultish sort of situation. In that,
yeah, maybe it's either. I think it's either a revolution under a fascist government, and the sign of the revolution, like the revolt sign of the rebels, is the blonde nape.
Yep.
Or
so I'm picturing that your character has got like long brunette or even red hair, and then
I kind of like this idea of like
lift it up, and
exactly,
there's just this
like
tiny little
flipping
blonde
up the
rat
back.
tail.
Yeah, flipping up the back, and it doesn't necessarily have to be rat tail. Some people wear the rat tail. I think maybe they wear the rat tail if they're out and proud as a rebel. But everyone else kind of just like bleaches a patch of hair at the nape of their neck that they can cover because they can keep it secret, but it's a good sign.
Okay, so you know what I think we've just come up with?
What?
The plot for Just Cause 5.
Oh, God. But Just Cause is too silly. I feel like this is a bit more serious.
Well, let's just make it silly then.
I guess it is technically supposed to be a comedy podcast.
Yeah.
All right, so Rico the Rico. Does he have a last name? I assume he does.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Williams.
Let's call him Rico.
Rico Iglesias goes to some other country.
Australia.
He's freed all the Latin countries. Yeah, this is it. He's freed all the Latin countries. It's a out and happy and free Latinx population in the world. It's like, all right, who else is being oppressed? The Aussies. Let's go. So he shows up here and he's like, all right, I'm going to find the rebels. You're going to help me out. I'm going to blow shit up. Starting at Parliament House. Take this, ScoMo.
So I'm picturing that, you've got the typical sort of, cities, a compressed thing that you can have like a massive desert and you can have, mountainous areas.
I was going to say, he's got all these great traversal things, but they really rely on being able to get up high. And he just ends up out in the desert and he's just, I can't fucking do anything. I just have to walk.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he could maybe use updrafts with his fucking parachute or something, but even then.
Yeah. So I can picture, DLC, it's just sitting right there. That, the DLC is called Van Diemen's Land.
Oh, but it's demons like DEMONS.
Yes.
And they're driving in vans.
Yeah, you do realize it's just Tasmania, but it's
know.
It's just awesome.
No, I know. I get the idea. I'm just making it into an awesome pun. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe in this Halloween Halloween DLC, Van Diemen's Land, you're going around in a VW minivan, sort of driving around, destroying demons that have taken over Tasmania.
I like the idea of demons taking over Tasmania. More than they already have. No. I do like the idea. I did say that about the desert, but I do kind of like the idea of his whole parasailing thing, hooked onto a combi van, just driving through across the Australian desert. Just that classic kind of vista in the background.
Priscilla, Queen of the Desert style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I didn't even think of that, but yes, that's perfect. We can definitely do an homage to Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. But instead of the grand costume flying backwards, it's his fucking parachute.
But he's also in a sequined
Oh, definitely. He's done up to the nines.
Slash dress.
He's done up to the nines. We'll definitely get some of the big Aussie actors like Guy Pearce. Guy Pearce? Hugo Weaving. It was Hugo Weaving. Was Guy Pearce in that? Or was it just Hugo Weaving?
I seem to remember.
I sometimes get those two mixed up, but
I know Terence Stamp was in it, but he's not Australian. Hugo Weaving and Guy Pearce.
Okay,
there you go.
I thought so. So they'll get star for us, I'm sure. I'll throw some voices in.
I just don't know whether Terence Stamp would actually come back.
Forget it. Doesn't matter.
Okay, so Priscilla, but with crazy over-the-top blowing shit up.
Yeah.
Going from town to town, liberating the country towns.
Aussie country towns, having a tinny at the end. Yeah. And then back to the whole... See, we wasted the whole great thing about, the hidden blonde nape and stuff. Now it's just another Just Cause game.
Yeah. But it's also an awesome homage to Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, which was a damn funny movie.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. As long as we get some representative characters in there so that we're not just totally ripping off some grand LGBT movie. I don't know if there are problems with that movie or not. Actually, now that I think of it, I'm sure there are people who have issues with the fact that there were drag queens and transgender people played by anyway.
It says here that the film was a surprise worldwide hit and its positive portrayal of the LGBT individuals.
Okay, well, that's good.
To introduce LGBT themes to a mainstream audience. That's...
Yeah.
What year was it? 2006?
That's good.
I
guess
94,
for the time.
94, shit.
Oh, yeah, jeez.
There was a musical in...
2006.
In 2006.
I guess for the time, that's pretty good. Even if they didn't actually probably have any gay actors in the actual movie. Anyway, we've gone off the rails.
We always do. 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1, quick. 3, 2, 1, quick. Click.
In proper sauerkraut.
Regulating loaf. We have another food-based... Well, food-related game, I guess.
Yeah. I'm picturing this is an incident that happens at a hot dog eating contest. Because I'm picturing it's a German German hot dog eating contest where they've got like
well, they wouldn't call it a hot dog.
No,
it's a wiener.
A wiener.
It's a bratwurst or something. It's a worst. Yeah.
Worst eating contest. Yep.
Who can eat the best worst? Who can eat worst the best?
I'm picturing that like it's a game of managing, like not necessarily managing as such, but sort of trying to work out the proper way of actually implementing sauerkraut into this, and it keeps on going wrong.
No, I like the idea that you're managing. I think you're managing a team of eating professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like coming into this town on Oktoberfest in Germany to just like blow away the competition at eating bratwurst, other worsts.
I think in part of it there's like a meatloaf that has to also be eaten.
Oh, that's where the loaf comes in. I was going to think maybe there was some arguments around the type of bread to be used when eating these sausages. Maybe there's like an Aussie and he insists on eating the bratwurst in a piece of white bread from Coles with tomato sauce.
Yes.
He keeps calling it a snag, and they're just like, "What is this?" That's my horrible German accent.
Yeah. So what I'm picturing though is that he really doesn't like sauerkraut.
Yeah.
So this guy is always looking, for the right place to hide the sauerkraut. Like, if you don't keep a good eye on him, then he can actually like hide it down the pants of his like compatriots in the.
Okay.
just sort of surreptitiously sticks it into the guy's back, the neighbor's back pocket, and then just wipes his hand on him
on his back. Thanks, mate. Sorry. Yeah, you had a fly. There's a bug on you. I got it.
So now
so what's the game?
I'm just
what's the
picturing,
gameplay though? Like what?
Now I'm picturing that it's a VR title in that you're like doing a lot of observation sort of thing, being able to sort of pick out people. Maybe you're not necessarily a manager, but you're a judge of this thing.
Okay.
And it's all about, it's an observation sort of game, trying to work out who's actually doing the best, who's cheating, who's got improper sauerkraut technique.
What's proper sauerkraut technique?
You eat it.
So anything other than that is improper. I disagree. I don't know.
You're not a fan of sauerkraut?
Oh, I haven't really had it much, but probably not.
If I remember rightly, it's like pickled cabbage or something.
Yeah, fermented cabbage.
Ugh.
I don't know. So what I was thinking about with the manager is it reminded me of the fact that I wasn't aware. Like when we were at PAX, we were watching some professional Overwatch stuff.
Yep.
And the fact that they had a coach or like a person who was sort of looking over and organizing them and telling them when to use their ultimates and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the idea of that, but for a food eating contest. So it's like when to keep going, when to slow down, when to take a drink of water. Like the people who are actually doing it don't have time to think about this stuff because they have to focus on getting stuff down their gullet and not throwing up.
So maybe what you've got in front of you is like all these different like heart rate monitors, and you can sort of see like blood pressure and breathing. And you got all these monitors that you can sort of go, okay, Jeremy, slow down.
Dip the next one in some water.
You had a little bit of trouble swallowing on this one. Do not vomit. Just have a couple of sips of water.
Yeah, take a second. You can keep it down.
Fred, you've got to have some sauerkraut. I know you don't like it.
No, mate, no. I'm not eating the sauerkraut.
Don't stick it down Jeremy's pants.
But he's got such a big ass. It's so easy. It's so close to me.
Terry, slow down.
What?
Chew your food.
But sir, that defeats the purpose of this contest if I have to chew. It slows me down too much.
But you're gonna choke. Just stop
As long-
sticking
as
the
long as I
sausages
get it
down
down.
without swallowing.
I don't have a gag reflex. I trained for this. I can't keep my accent straight. That's how much I'm eating.
I can't stop from laughing. Oh, and Fiona died. I was focusing on everyone else.
Yeah.
Bugger. Okay, you win some, you lose some. 3 to 1 pick.
Right. Ooh, the grimmest huddle.
Fetal Sierra.
Okay. Now, my word was grimmest, but I kind of want it to be Grimace, like from McDonald's. Like the Grimace. And for Sierra, I'm just taking it that it's a point-and-click adventure game. In the style of Sierra.
Okay.
And it's the life of Grimace. It's like from the beginning. And you play through his life and you discover how he met Ronald McDonald and the rest of the Frytown folks. Burgertown? I don't know. I don't care.
Okay. You're picturing, McDonald's land and how colourful it is. So why does Grimace always, whenever he gets scared, go into the fetal position?
Yeah, well, this is it. We're going to find out the trauma of his history. He grew up, and huddle comes from the fact that when Grimaces are born, they're born in a litter, and he's the last remaining Grimace from his, well, maybe ever, or maybe just from his litter. All his brothers and sister Grimaces
Okay, so
were killed in some way. It was very grim.
I'm picturing. I'm just looking at Grimace right now.
Oh, don't do that. You'll be cursed.
Oh my god!
My eyes!
Okay, so Grimace is like literally purple.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether you actually knew this, but in the McDonald's land parlance, like Grimace is actually supposed to be like a representation of like a milkshake or the thick shake.
He's supposed to be a milkshake?
Yeah, from what I remember, like he was the embodiment of like the thick shake.
Okay.
If you look at him upside down, the sort of shape gives the look of like the cup.
Oh, maybe.
Sort of like you know how you had like Mayor McCheese and they were all like food based.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Grimace was supposed to be like part of it.
Well, that's a terrible history. So we're gonna retcon it
Okay.
into something more interesting. I mean, he can look, and I'm reading here that he was supposed to be evil originally, and he had more arms, and then he became good and lost some arms. So look, let's roll with that. It's canon. Well, let's talk about how he lost his arms. So I love this idea that he is born somewhere in the McDonald land forest in his litter of other Grimaces.
Is he the only one who's purple?
I think they're yeah, okay. Well, I was going to say they're all different colors.
Red or blue.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Sure. All right. He's the only one that's purple. I was going to say he's the only one that's purple. I was thinking the other ones were different colors, but I like just a rainbow of colors. But I like that idea that he's the odd one out.
Yep.
I think they've all got 4 arms though.
Yes.
They're all born with 4 arms. This little litter of baby Grimaces. Wait, is his name Grimace or is his species Grimace? Or both?
I think both.
Okay.
I think they never named him because he was the runt of the litter.
Ooh, that's harsh. They just expected him to die.
Yeah,
Or
sort
they
of
were
like
gonna eat
it's
him.
an ugly duckling sort of situation.
Totally, yeah. He just never turned into a swan. Sorry, Grimace. You're ugly as fuck.
No, Grimace is awesome.
Yeah, Grimace is pretty good.
What I'm picturing is like he gets shunned from this group in his early teens.
Yeah.
So
During his
he
Grimace
sort of-
puberty, when he just loses his arms. That's what happens to Grimaces in puberty. Their vestigial arms, their second pair of arms becomes vestigial and dries up and drops off.
Well, it's sort of like what I'm picturing is like the bottom set of arms were like training wheels to help them stand.
Well, to help them
Like
steal milkshakes, obviously.
Well, I'm thinking it's kind of like training wheels. You know, they couldn't because you know they're
very bottom
and that sort
heavy.
of stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
They could fall over very quickly.
They're a bit
so they had,
roly-poly, so
like training arms to keep themselves sort of
Totally, they're baby arms.
staying upright.
Yeah.
But then when they get good enough, they're
no longer needed.
They're no longer needed, and they're not having to use them to rely on anymore, and they just shrivel up and just fall off.
Shrivel up, fall off, and what is left, interestingly enough, is their sex organs. Yeah, nothing for that.
God, no. Vito.
Maybe that's his name. Vito the Grimace. He looks a bit like a Vito.
So I'm picturing, he gets shunned out. All his brothers and sisters of the same litter. They're all red and blue, and they're just telling him to fuck off and all this sort of stuff.
What is the goal of the Grimace Society then? That he is like, are they actually enemies of the rest of McDonaldland, and that's why he started off evil when he was like a preteen and he was trying to fit in. But once he became an adult, he like realized that actually the McDonaldland people are his only friends.
Okay, so I think what actually happened early on was the Grimace was actually it was a genetic experiment gone wrong. Mayor McCheese back in the day used to actually be like a scientist, and he created this new
Dr. McCheese.
He was Dr. McCheese back then. And when he became mayor, he basically destroyed all his creations, except for he didn't realize that two had escaped.
Two Grimaces had got out.
And they had there was a
how did Grimace? Yeah,
well, I'm thinking that in this society, Grimaces aren't either male or female. They're just you need two of them, and they can mate.
Right. Okay. It just happened to be that a red and a blue one escaped. They actually did come in all colours, but now there are only red and blue ones until Grimace. This Grimace. He's a bit of a mutation.
He's a purple one.
We should say they. He's probably they're probably not gendered.
They're not gendered. So they, they get in. They, being Grimace, get involved when they first get out. The first person that he meets up with, the Hamburglar.
So he gets they were kind of buddies, weren't they? Because Hamburglar's also sort of against McDonaldland until later on. He kind of.
So I think that, that's what's giving his sort of. That's what's giving their sort of.
Maybe we should just make it him because we're so used to it. The McDonald's wiki does say he.
We're trying. The
McDonald's wiki does say he.
Oh, I do like that.
You do like them being non-gendered.
Non-gendered.
Okay,
and
well,
I think it's good.
push it.
I think it's good that we're trying to grow and we're trying to get out of our usual.
It's true. All right, let's stick with it.
Way of thinking. So I think that their impressionable youth, gets under the wing of the Hamburglar, and
so are the two.
The Hamburglar
is that where Grimace's like stealing of milkshakes starts, or were they already stealing milkshakes and that's how they met the Hamburglar?
I think the Hamburglar realised, this Grimace is trying to steal a milkshake and going about it all wrong. So he sort of
Okay, so that's
Hamburglar
why
takes on like a Fagin sort of role, an Oliver Twist. Fagin.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I like this a lot.
So I'm thinking in one of the heists, like they're going in.
Oh, so do you literally get to? Is this a full-on heist game where they're like planning heists of different McDonald's?
Yeah, kind of like Payday 2, except you get in, you steal the milkshake and
that valuable
hamburgers and
chocolate milkshake. Yeah, that's it. Like you're stealing milkshakes, you're stealing hamburgers. Fuck the fries, because they're all basically people anyway, right? Well, so are the hamburgers, because Mayor McCheese. Anyway, it's probably not best. It's probably best not to think about it too hard.
Well, what actually happens in one part is Grimace realizes that the Hamburglar is really evil when, like, he takes a bite out of one of the employees.
Weren't they like little hamburger babies and things?
Yeah, I think this is one scene where he wasn't able to steal any hamburgers, so he just took a bite out of one of the hamburger kids.
Right. Out of his the side of his face.
Yeah, and so Grimace goes off and meets up with, like, Birdie or whatever her name was, and finally ends up meeting Ronald McDonald, tells him the crazy thing that they've seen.
Yeah. And that's when he kind of becomes part of the team.
Part of the team. I'm looking at more images now, and I just saw this Grimace is Thanos cosplay, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Well, they are the chosen one, so who knows what could happen? They could find the Infinity Gauntlet and all 6 Infinity Stones. Like, come on.
I've got to send this over to you.
Yeah, I do want to see it. Jesus fucking Christ. It's an oven mitt. With, what's on it? Putty? Silly putty?
I know. It's just awesome.
It's pretty good. It's pretty fucking good.
Oh, God.
All right.
Things that you see.
I think we should 3, 2, 1 click, but I fucking love that new history of McDonald's and Grimace.
Yeah.
We could probably
Awesome.
go with that for the rest of the night, but
3,
3, 2, 1 click.
Crunchy toxin.
Oh. Lusty insecticide. All right.
Okay. Ooh.
You got,
okay,
yeah.
I'm seeing... Picture this. The opening scene is an apple orchard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you see a crop duster fly overhead.
Okay. This is a very crop dusty episode. Yep.
Yeah, a crop dustery episode, dropping basically insecticide onto this orchard.
Yep.
But what you actually find out is something in these chemicals have changed the makeup of these apples.
Okay.
So they now give off a pheromone that basically makes people want to just eat it. But the what happens is it gives off a toxin.
Yep.
That builds up in the body and can actually convert you into, I'm thinking, an apple tree.
Well, I was thinking, because I was trying to get a bit sciencey with this, because why would an apple want you to eat it? The same reason any plant wants you to do
themselves are seeds of the.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The
tree.
Same reason any plant wants you to do anything is to spread.
And that's why I came up with the whole idea that it just wants you to eat all of it, because then it turns you into like a
it grows inside you.
Grows inside you and turns you into an apple tree.
I was thinking that the reason it's actually so crunchy is that it starts getting these apples are basically all seeds. But people can't stop eating them. And then as the toxin builds up inside them, it's actually explosive. And then they explode and seeds go everywhere. Just hundreds and hundreds of apple seeds to spread this mutated apple. And it brings a whole new thing to the whole don't eat apple seeds, like the core of an apple. Because, yeah.
So everyone always thought that it was because it was cyanide. But it turns out that no, if you eat too many of the seeds...
it's actually
what actually
hydrogen,
is,
and one little spark could set you off.
Okay, so I'm picturing.
Oh, I like the idea that people are just like start burping out hydrogen. That's the sign. It's the first sign that they've eaten one of these apples.
I think the next sign is they start like. I know that we've gone to this not too long ago, but. The James Gunn movie Slither, where Michael Rooker is like that huge big ball. I'm thinking that that's the final stage before they explode. They just
swell up
with seeds, and then when they explode,
seeds and hydrogen. Yeah.
So I'm picturing that that's the final stage. You work for the company who created the pesticide.
Okay.
That has mutated this thing, and you're part of the cleanup crew.
Okay. So what sort of game is it?
It's a first-person shooter.
Yeah. Just got these giant roly-poly people full of apple seeds.
Well, I'm picturing that you go in and Hitman-esque, you're going around trying to find out who in the town.
So it's a bit more tactical then. It's a bit more tactical.
It's sort of like think I like the first person view, being able to sort of do things, but the whole thing isn't just, shooting. But if one of these, like, roly-poly humans comes up and explodes and sends all the,
is that what they call them? The roly-polies?
Yeah, I think they're just called roly-polies. I think if one of those explodes and someone swallows a seed, they immediately turn into, like...
right, it spreads.
It spreads really, really quickly.
Oh, just because they're fresh or something?
Yeah, because it's, like, super fresh seed. And
yeah.
One of the things that is really... really telltale whether someone's just been infected is they get extremely lusty.
I thought the lusty was just that the apples were making you eat them.
Yeah, but now...
Oh, okay, now they've got that same pheromone.
Yes. The people have the pheromone, so they attract more people.
Do the other people want to eat that person?
Ooh.
Like
so
it turns into
like a cannibal
zombie
sort of thing.
cannibalism sort of thing?
Ooh, I kind of like that. So you actually, when you see this start to happen, you pull down the gas mask.
Yeah, and you just have
and
to
the gas
shoot
mask has
everyone.
like the UI in it, so you can actually
it's got, like,
have a reason for the UI.
Yeah, and you can okay, yeah.
Pheromone levels and that sort of stuff.
Pheromone levels of hydrogen on people's breath.
Yep.
Because I think the pheromones wear off. Like the pheromones are bred in the apples. In general, like that, because the apples want to be eaten. They don't. They don't last long.
So are the roly-polies the only thing that want to get eaten? Like they swell up to a big size, and then people start eating those roly-polies.
Maybe. I feel like that's getting complex.
There's more meat to go around.
Well, it's not more meat. They're just like bloated.
Seed. More seed to go around.
Bloated and seed and gas.
They basically turn into an apple.
Oh, God. This is going too far. But I do kind of like the idea of first-person shooter, and you're just like blasting at all these lust zombies who are all trying to come and eat each other. No, everyone's trying to eat them.
Yeah.
So you have to kill the lust zombie, because otherwise the people are going to try to eat that lust zombie, and then they become lust zombies, and it just spreads.
Yeah, but the thing is, pheromones, they don't just go away just because the person's dead.
Well,
they still hang around, so
yeah,
you've got to obliterate the body somehow.
Well, and part of that is getting it close enough to a roly-poly that you then shoot the roly-poly and explodes. The body is gone, but now there's more seeds. Fuck.
So there's no way around it. You're just going to have lots and lots of shooting.
Yep, sounds good.
31 click.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Immobile grappling.
Jaundiced perch. So I'm seeing grappling and perch. Like, it reminds me of, Batman Arkham Asylum, grappling and flying around the room sort of thing.
Well, where I went, so
but
just
jaundiced and immobile sort of says that, liver disease and really sick.
Well, okay, so where I was going, and I don't think we should go with liver disease necessarily, but maybe, I don't know. There aren't many, if any, that I can think of, protagonists of video games who have disabilities, right?
Yep.
And as we often talk about on the show, representation matters. So I like the idea of somebody who's in a wheelchair who is also like a fucking superhero and has gadgets and stuff. And that's where the grappling and things come around. So they've managed to like trick out this wheelchair.
Okay.
Grappling hooks, stun guns, whatever else, fucking nitrous.
Okay. And I'm seeing that
and maybe the villain
the bad guy is just this evil rich guy who's had too much spray tan. No, no. It's just found out that he's got liver disease and has turned evil, basically saying that the whole world owes him something. So like this whole juxtaposition of this kid who's been paralyzed since birth and is doing something good with his powers compared to this previously able-bodied guy who's now found out that he's a little bit sick and is turning his back on the world and wanting to get revenge.
Totally, yeah, just throwing a fucking privileged temper tantrum.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, I like that. That's cool.
I think that's a good juxtaposition of
Yeah, someone who doesn't let their disability, you know,
get them down or anything like that.
Yeah, as long as we do, you know, anyway, as usual, these things is pretty complex, but the goal is representation. So yeah, I think we can create a pretty kick-ass kid, like teenager. I feel like they're like a teenager, like a bit of a Peter Parker-ish sort of thing. You know, they're pretty smart.
Yep.
So they're making all these gadgets and stuff themselves.
I'm picturing it's sort of like a land-based Spider-Man sort of thing of, you know, grapple onto the back of a car and, you know, sort of racing through. Then you're able to sort of throw your grappling hook out onto the lamppost, swing
around
your wheelchair around this corner. And
I love the idea of that sort of traversal and that sort of movement, and just like fucking going off jumps and shit, like flying through the air and catching yourself with a grappling hook in time to not, you know, die.
Nice.
But and actually, that made me think of. Did you ever play the game Rocket Jockey?
No, I didn't.
For some reason, it's stuck in my head. I had a demo of it. I think maybe one day I got the full version. It felt like it was really obscure. It was a game it was a racing game where you're riding on a rocket, and the only way you could steer is to throw out a grappling hook onto these poles and rotate around it, right? And let go at the right time to keep going in the right direction. Mm-hmm. But you could also like grapple onto other people's rockets and pull them off and stuff if you had your good enough aim, and actually had pretty good physics for the time. Anyway, it just made me think of that, of like speeding down the street and just like grapple out to the side onto a lamppost. Yes, like spin around the corner, let go at the right time. Like you could have a lot of the movement be based on those sort of physics.
Nice.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah. So I'm picturing sort of like an open city.
Yeah.
Crimes to sort of stop.
Lots of jabs at the fact that so many places aren't wheelchair accessible.
Yeah, but your character doesn't let that stop them. You know, they may be able to like swing themselves up to the
well,
area.
They can, but I think they're a bit of an advocate, obviously, for.
Yeah, I think one of the things is that, you know, when they save these places and they realize, you know, they could have saved us a little bit faster if there was wheelchair accessibility. And
I love the idea of, you know, how I love the idea of, you know, how in games like this often, you know, you've got all the different sections of the city or whatever, that as you like solve or like beat the bad guys or whatever in each section of the city, it gets an overhaul of like accessibility features. So you know you've like done this section of the town because it's got a ton of ramps and like elevators and it's just seats and whatever, right? Like the things that those with, you know, who are less able-bodied need. Yeah, I like it.
So what does the bad guy do?
Well,
his whole thing is, you know, trying to save money by not installing accessible.
Yeah, I don't know. I
things
guess
at all these restaurants.
It doesn't necessarily. It doesn't necessarily have to be that directly like around accessibility as such. I think it is that he's angry at the world now because he's lived his life able-bodied and now he's not. Yeah, I don't know. Is he just? How's he trying to get back at the world? I guess. Maybe he's like giving people polio.
Jeez.
If I can't walk, no one will. And then
3, 2, 1, click. It's dark.
We're back to vaccinations again. Hydroelectric thinker.
Millionth swipe.
Huh. Okay. So hydroelectric thinker made me think of some sort of artificial intelligence, right? Like it's powered by electricity. And in fact, hydroelectricity. And it made me think of actually, did you ever read Isaac Asimov, some of his robot stories and stuff?
I've read only a couple. Okay.
Anyway, in his stories, there was a big supercomputer called Multivac. That was just incredibly intelligent and huge and whatever. So I'm thinking it's kind of that. This is a situation where somebody has built this supercomputer, this computer brain, but it's learning, the way it's learned, the way it's become sentient is through Tinder. Somehow it's hooked into Tinder.
Just Tinder, or like,
well, that was the first.
All those sort of apps.
It's a big chunk of it, but like, it's learned everything it knows about human relationships from swipes. That's the data it got.
God. and on the millionth swipe left,
that's when it gained
sentience.
Yes, that's when it gained sentience. It was like, Judy likes Matthew. I'm alive. Wait, the left swipe's a bad one, isn't it?
Oh, right swipe's then.
I don't know.
So it was within the first day that it
It didn't take very long.
Yeah, but it was like, I'm alive.
Yeah,
but that doesn't really know much more other than just swiping.
Yeah, well, so once it gained sentience, it started learning other things. It managed to hook up to the rest of the internet. But no, I kind of like the idea of exploring a world where there's this new intelligence, and like, what does that?
Okay, so I think because all the intelligence really knows, if it doesn't like something, it swipes left. If it likes something, it swipes right.
Okay,
but the problem is, like, I'm seeing like this massive arm, and someone comes to it. And it just swipes the person left into oncoming traffic. And if it likes something, it swipes right into a building. So either way, you
may not survive, but people are still going to this computer because it has all the answers to every question in the universe. Oh, it's the smartest being.
You know what I like? If it you go up to it and you have to ask it like a yes or no question. And basically, this huge arm will send you left into the crocodile pit, or right into like the money room. So it's just a version of like Shark Tank, but
you're pitching your ideas to it.
You're pitching your ideas to it, and it swipes left or swipes right, depending on whether it wants to put you into the Shark Tank or
give you tons of money.
Give you tons of money.
A literal Shark Tank.
Invest in.
I mean, neither of these have much game to them. Do you play multivac? Well, I guess it's not multivac in this, but do you play Tindervac?
I think maybe you do. That the whole idea is choosing based off of what you've learnt on Tinder, which is all about swiping left and swiping right, based on some simple mechanics. When someone asks you, I've got this great idea for this, you can look into their dating history and see, the sort of people that they dated, and that's all the information that you got on them to tell if they're
a bit of a papers, please
trustworthy thing. Yeah,
that's interesting. Is it VR so you can physically swipe?
You know it is.
I knew it was. No, I don't know. Yeah, there are a few different ways we could go. I was thinking this could actually be an interesting real life app where, like, people love to fucking swipe, but instead of swiping for dates, it's like to give advice to people, but it's all yes and no questions. So people ask advice, and if you're on the app, you can just sit there and answer questions. Yes, yes, no, no, yes, no, no, yes, yes, no, yes, no.
God. Okay, 3, 2, 1, click.
All right, last one, I think.
Yep.
Invincible, ineligible. Those are both adjectives, but anyway.
Incurable, incubator.
What? I got all in words. That's impossible. No, that's not how it's spelled.
It's impossible. Me fail English, that's impossible.
Invincible, ineligible. What was your
incurable incubator?
Jeez, yours start with like the first 4 letters. All right, invincible, ineligible, incurable incubator. I mean, this smacks of superheroes again in some way, where there's some sort of technology to like make you invincible. Like you go through some sort of process in this incubator. To give you powers or something, but this person's ineligible for it because of their incurable disease or something like that.
No, what I was actually thinking about was you are someone that goes through something like a Captain America style.
Yeah, that's kind of what else. Yeah. Yep.
So you become invincible, but it turns out that, like, being invincible isn't everything it's sort of cracked up to be. To the point that, it is actually incurable because they can never actually, like, pierce your skin with anything. It's sort of like the Superman problem, and your cells are always constantly regenerating. And it's maybe this thing going through all the different years of this person's life in which they're like invincible, so they never actually die.
Oh, I kind of like that idea that the first act of the game, like, it's the origin story, sets them up as this invincible superhero, like, kill the big bad guy, or capture the big bad guy, save the world.
You get married.
You get married, you meet the love of your life, you get married. And the player's going, oh my God, this game's so short. Like, how's it over so far? But then it cuts to like 50 years.
The gravesite.
Cuts to like 50 years later, and your partner's dying. And
you still look exactly the same.
You still look exactly the same. Everything around you is dying. And so the first act was this kick-ass beat 'em up, and the rest of the game is this like solemn exploration of immortality.
Yeah. I hate doing this, but they actually sort of did a similar sort of thing that happened in Doctor Who.
Fuck off.
In that there was a character who was brought back to life, and basically the nanobots in their body just kept on repairing, and throughout the series, like, they went to all these different places, and they kept on seeing the character again, and they'd lived so long that they didn't actually even remember their name, their family, and all this sort of stuff. And it was actually really quite sad to sort of see this characters live so many different lives that they couldn't even remember the simplest things about where they came from and all that sort of stuff.
Well, I love that idea of jumping forward,
the idea of jumping
literally hundreds of years by the end of the game. Like, the game is set like 1,000 years after the beginning or something.
Yeah.
And, particularly after the first 100 years, like, this person has gone through, this hero has gone through a lot of trauma. Everyone they know has died, but they still feel obligated to, like, save people and be a superhero. Their heart's sort of not in it anymore. And then they, maybe they leave, because there's a whole, like, they do that with Superman too, like, leaves for a while, goes off into deep space. I don't know, you find other things, you live a whole other life. You see fragments of them meeting other people and falling in love again, and then watching them die.
I like the idea that, like, another thing is because you've lived a lot longer than what anyone ever sort of expected. You become ineligible to like vote or something like that because you've been away for so long and they've got no registration of you. So that that comes into.
Actually, I like that idea that you stay away for so long that the world forgets about you. So you've got this period of a good 200 or 300 years where you are the world's hero. And you're saving people all the time. You probably do. You basically live a few lifetimes, like, 2, 3, 4 lifetimes by that point. Had all these friends, watch them die. You just can't take it anymore. You leave for like 200 or 300 years. You come back. Nobody knows who you are.
You've seen your great grandson pass away at the ripe old age of 100, and you're like, this is
fuck this. I'm out.
Drops the mic.
Yeah.
Flies off.
Fuck this shit.
Gets in the
spaceship. Yeah. But you come back. They come back, and now they are nobody believes them because they haven't been around for this so long. It's not until this person's lived here for another 40, 50 years and hasn't aged that people around him start believing. But then that's a whole other set of experiences,
I kind of like the idea that, sort of, what can actually happen is he tries to actually, he falls in love again and tries to come up with a way of making this person is immortal as well.
Yeah.
Only to find out that, he can't give this curse to someone else.
Like
and
morally.
Can't trick them into it, sort of thing, morally, because it's like it is a curse. It's not.
Well, that's it. I think he's thought of it before, but this is the closest he's come to actually doing it. But then I don't know. Maybe the game gives you a choice, but bad ending versus good ending.
yeah, I really like exploring the psyche of someone like that. That's cool.
Oh, geez, I love it. It's pretty horrid, but I love the idea that you choose to give someone else this curse of immortality, or like you kind of convince them to, like they consent to it, and it seems like you got the good ending because everything's happy for a while, and you kind of flick forward to their lives. You know, it's like 100 years later, 200 years later, 500 years later, but you see the cracks start and the fact that, you know, this person now resents him for doing this to them. And yeah, I don't know, I kind of like seeing their relationship just completely break down over 1,000 years.
Okay, so what happens next is they end up flying to another world.
Yeah.
And it turns out that they weren't on Earth.
And now they're on Earth.
Now they fly to Earth.
I know where you're going with this.
And the character was played by Will Smith.
Yes. His wife was Charlize Theron. They're actually angels the whole time. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Hancock. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Hancock. I got it. I saw that movie, Trevor.
Come on. I thought
it does fit very well. It does fit
fits in very well. Like, it turns out that it was, you know, Hancock the entire time. You just didn't realize.
Yeah. And then there's no wonder he's fucking a bum and drunk, because he's been alive for thousands of years and fucking lost more people than you can imagine.
Yeah, God. That's awesome.
Oh, okay. All right. I think we'll finish it up on that note. Thank you for joining us this week on Bitstorm, episode 101. Woohoo! All our episodes from now on have 3 digits. Well, at least for another 900 or so. If you want to find us online, just go to podchaser.com/Bitstorm. All our stuff's there. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all the good stuff. Our group. iTunes if you really want to. Other stuff. Do it. It's great. Yeah. Leave a review. Listen to us there. Tell us what you think.
If you're searching Twitter and Facebook and you're looking for something else to listen to, check out the AGPN, the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. You can search for them by #AGPN on Twitter, or just look for the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network group on Facebook. Awesome podcasts out there. Awesome lot of people with all different ideas around the gaming. And they're all Australian. It's pretty cool. Go check them all out. Finally, we'd like to thank Kuradust for the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure. That's it.
Yeah, that is it. So, thanks again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott. Oh my god, I really don't want to get immunised by that dust cloud.
And this is an apple here, and I really can't stop myself from eating it. I hope nothing goes wrong. Crunch.
Oh my god, your skin is so rosy. Do you mind if I just nibble on the naked nibble for a little bit?
Oh my god, it's blonde. You're a rebel.